So guys, Resonator's actually got some hidden support. You may not have actually noticed it though, and a hidden support was the existence of the Team 6K Discord, because one of our most active members, Raindown, got to the grindstone and teched up a super nice new playstyle for the deck. And to be honest, after watching this video, if you play Resonators the way it was played before, honestly that would be pretty embarrassing. By now you may already know the core of the archetype, but the new way to play the deck can often end on 2 or 3 inherent interruptions easily, rather than hoping to draw good back row to go alongside the single inherent interruption being the searchable Red Rain. In case you don't know how the deck runs in the first place though, I'm gonna break it down. The main aspect of the deck that makes it so good is that pretty much any single fiend will allow you to get off the most basic play of the deck. The skill lets you discard a fiend to send a dark fiend and search a fire fiend. We're gonna use this to send a Crimson Resonator to the grave and search a red Sprinter. Sprinter on normal summon, if you have no other monsters on board, revives that Crimson, and you can use both for a Red Rising Dragon who revives Crimson, and with Red Rising on the field, Crimson gets to summon 2 other Resonators from the deck. Now you've got 3 tuners and a level 6 synchro to go into whatever path you want to go into. People might go into Tyrant Red to blow up the board and swing in. People might go into Skylight and shuffle a fiend from hand and field with a skill to go into the deck and grab a Red Rain to banish the opponent's whole field as an interruption or to help go for game. And there's the option too to go into Dark End to remove things like that can't be destroyed by Tyrant Red's or Skylight's effects. These are all fantastic avenues that the deck has easy access to. The main issue though is that the deck's minimum for a lot of players is also pretty much the deck's maximum, unless they also happen to open Wild Wind, the only extender in the deck. As a free level 4 to special summon if you have a Resonator on the board, it can help you play through things and it can help you make your field more imposing, letting you get more synchro plays off too, because fun fact, Red Rising is not once per turn. The issue though is that you can only ever play 3 of a card, and the deck doesn't have any other way to search for Wild Wind, so you pretty much just have to hope to open him. Raindown said, nah, that's not good enough, and he rolled up his sleeves and got to his workshop and started building a masterpiece. Here's the concept. Crimson Resonator and Red Rising Dragon just so happen to lock you into Dark Dragon synchros. You can't summon anything else from the extra deck if you use them, and they are the main enablers of every combo in the deck. It just so happens that one of the newer synchros in the game, Void Ogre Dragon, is a Dark Dragon synchro, and as long as you have no cards in your hand, you can negate back row with it. A fun fact about Void Ogre, he is not a hard once per turn. If only we had more extenders in the deck, we could actually make more than one Void Ogre very easily, and since Void Ogre is a level 8, you can still use Red Rain with it. Potentially use that Void Ogre to protect your Red Rain, if not to turn off the opponent's play starters if they happen to be spells, and Void Ogre makes it super easy to go for game against back row, especially if you got more than one of them out. So instead of just playing the 3 Wild Wind, we now have 7 extenders in the deck, and technically you could play more if you wanted, because as long as they are fiends, they can be used for the skill, so none of them are gonna brick you. So we have 3 Wild Wind, 3 Garbage Lord, and 1 Luna the Dark Spirit. You're probably thinking, what the crap is Garbage Lord doing in a Team 6K video? Aren't they supposed to be good at deck building? What's this trash I'm seeing on my screen? And to that I say,
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
So let's talk about the extension plays of this deck real quick, and you'll see that one man's trash is another man's treasure. As you know, the main combo of the deck is having any fiend you discard to get Crimson in the grave and Sprinter in hand. Normal summon Sprinter, and its effect will bring back Crimson. Synchro summon 4 + 2 = 6. So we got our Red Rising Dragon. Rising's effect brings back the Crimson, who can now summon 2 more Resonators from the deck. Let's say one of them is a Red Resonator, the other one is Synchron Resonator. Red Resonator's effect will gain you LP equal to the attack of a monster you target, so you could target your own Rising to gain 2100 life. You can use one of the level 2 tuners and your Rising. 2 + 6 = 8. Synchro summon either Scarlight or Void Ogre. If you want to summon Void, you gotta use Crimson as material though, since it does need a Dark tuner. At that point you have 2 tuners left on the field, a level 2 and a level 1, and what you do next will depend on your hand. If you happen to have a fiend in your hand and you decided to summon Scarlight, you could turn that fiend in hand and one of your tuners into a Red Rain, and there's a fantastic disruption for you. If you had any extender though, you could take it further. If you have Wild Wind, you can special summon it while you have a Resonator, then you can use it alongside your level 2 tuner. 4 + 2 = 6. Synchro summon another Rising. Since Rising isn't once per turn, it revives Crimson again, then 6 + 2 = 8. You can go into a Void Ogre. Another nice interruption for you. If you instead had Luna, you could banish the Rising from grave to summon itself and do the same play as you would with Wild Wind. It's just that its summoning cost makes it a little bit less versatile. Garbage Lord though, it is a level 5 and costs 2 stacks of life to summon it. You might be thinking, well okay Undead, I've followed so far, but this card is still garbage. Well, let me prove you wrong, sir. You've already gained at least 2 stacks of life from Red Resonator's effect, so Garbage Lord is basically already paid for. So you can summon it alongside your level 1 tuner, and 1 + 5 = 6. You can make a Red Rising with this as well, and then of course revive Crimson and make your Void Ogre. If your hand is good good enough, you can actually make up to 3 level 8 synchros. So if you wanted, you could potentially play 3 Void Ogre in your extra deck if you wanted. In this format, everybody relies on spells and traps, either to protect their plays or to interrupt the opponent. So Void Ogre is great, especially in multiples. Another great thing about Void Ogre is the fact that it is a level 8, meaning that if you have it alongside your other level 8s, they match levels, meaning that the red rain will not banish your other level 8s, making the field nuke basically fully one-sided. And if they had Cosmic to take out the red rain, Void Ogre can protect it. The resources that you use to make your Void Ogres might otherwise be used to make Scarlight and directly search for the red rain. So playing more than one red rain may actually be beneficial, so that if you draw it, you can make better boards. You don't have to make that Scarlet. What makes this version much better than the standard version of Resonators is that it puts up better boards, plays through things better, and has a much better long game, all because of the fact that we have a larger quantity of extenders. We know that they can't hurt the deck's consistency, because as long as you have a Fiend in hand, then you got the combo anyway. And all these just so happen to be Fiends too. If you feel like you've drawn too many of them, well you just use the skill to discard the one that you don't want, and now you have the full combo, as well as extenders to either help you play through things or to make your board stronger. This is what my current version looks like. It's inspired by Raindown's deck lists and ideas in the Discord. If you want to see other variants of the same concept or cheaper versions, join the Team 6K Discord. Go to the Resonator channel and you'll see he already has a lot of deck lists and tips in there, and if you have any questions, he's a great guy to ask. Radiant, the multi-dimensional kaiju, can help take out the opponent's monsters that would cause a problem for you due to their protection or their negates. The fact that it's only good going second is mitigated in this deck due to it being a Fiend monster, and any Fiend can give you the combo when used with this skill. If you don't have Radiant though, you could use Santa Claus. It's also a Fiend, so it's pretty much the same, but a kaiju would be better, because if you have 2, give 1 to your opponent, summon 1 on your own field as well. Raindown has other alternatives as well in the Discord, so check it out there. You can really run whatever back row is your preference in this deck. We can take advantage of being 30 cards, considering the skill makes us pretty much unbrickable. Any cards in the deck we don't want to draw would have a lower chance of drawing them too if we play 30, but I would at least recommend playing Lance to protect your plays from back row before getting your Void Ogre up, and some amount of cards to prevent the opponent's monsters from interrupting you, like Radiant, Chalice, and Book. And Econ is free, so you might as well use it. This deck gets a lot of monsters on board, so Econ can often be a win button. Mirror Resonator is kind of cool just to be a level 1 you can summon from Crimson if you've already used the Synchron, but it also can summon itself from Grave if the opponent has an extra deck monster board, which can help you with your follow-up plays if you get interrupted. You can also send this to the grave with the skill if you already have Crimson in hand to discard, always making sure you have the Crimson in grave before getting Sprinter. You're going to play the 2 Sprinter just in case we open 1, otherwise we can't send the Crimson to the grave. If there's anything you want to put in your extra deck that I don't have in mind, you could take out the Dark End Dragon if you wanted it, it's up to you. Synchron Resonator is usually the one we want to summon from the deck, because when it's used as synchro material, you can add something from grave back to hand for you to use alongside the skill to get your red rain from the deck if you need it. Skullmeister, being a Fiend that works with a skill and being a hand trap, is usually great for Resonators, but in this deck we want to be able to use a Void Ogre's negate, and Void Ogre needs you to have no cards in your hand for it to work, so that's why we don't play the Skullmeister or any other hand trap. But technically, if you had it in the hand, you could discard it for the skill if you wanted the back row negate, and if you wanted the grave negate, you could summon something other than the Void Ogre. But right now there are too many decks that don't care about Skullmeister, even if there are some top decks that do care about it. I played this for a bit in Master Rank in the Turbo Duel GP, and it was definitely doing decent against the meta. It's not like this deck crushes the meta or anything, but it fights on pretty equal footing, I'd say. I wouldn't be surprised if some version of this concept ends up on the tier list if competitive players find out about this and try it out. Of course, if they ignore it, then it can't happen, right? But I know what you're here for, guys. I know, you want to see some real gameplay, not just undead rambling on. Alright, so I'm going first against Speedroids, and this is actually before the ban list, but yeah, gonna use that skill, discarding the red sprinter to get a second red sprinter, sending the Crimson, of course, reviving that Crimson, same usual combo, going into that red rising dragon, reviving the Crimson to let us go into a 2 more Synchrons from the deck. So one of them's going to be red, one of them's going to be Synchron. Synchron with a K, by the way. I probably should have mentioned that before. Anyway, going into Scarlight first, then we're going to summon the Wild Wind. If you have, you know, Garbage or Wild Wind, probably, you know, use the Wild Wind, because, you know, it's the same scenario. It's just, you know, whether or not you keep your life gain or not. Anyway, going to send the Garbage Lord and the Synchron to get my Red Rain. Then we can go into our second copy of Red Rising Dragon real quick here. which is going to be able to revive the Crimson. Always revive the Crimson, otherwise we won't be able to go into our Void Ogre, set the Book of Moon. Now we've got the Red Rain to banish their whole field, the Void Ogre to negate back removal basically, and also the Book of Moon to help prevent their plays. So a very formidable field here. So he's gonna, you know, use the wind, get his Terratop here, special summon that Terratop, all good. Basically my plan is here to wait until he has 3 monsters on the board, then get rid of all of them with Rain. It's really that simple, because if he has a way to protect him, I can just negate that protection with the Void, get rid of everything. If he has any follow-up, then Book of Moon will take care of it. He doesn't. And yeah, it's game here already, but I top deck an Extender, which is much more easy in this version of the deck, because part of the issue with this deck is if you don't top deck into an Extender, you don't have any follow-up whatsoever. But having a Wild Wind Engraved to search a tuner, pretty common. Can even send a Wild Wind with a skill if you like. Plus top decking an Extender means you're very likely to be able to get a follow-up play off. And as you can see, it's the same follow-up play every time, because the deck only has one avenue to go into different paths, you know what I mean? So going into a Dark End Dragon, the reason I go into Dark End is because silly mess play. I revived Red Resonator to gain more life, but you need to have Crimson in order to make a second Void Ogre. It isn't that deep. I already had game. I just wanted to show off the follow-up potential of the deck. And, you know, we are more likely to draw an Extender because we play a bunch more of them, and you could play even more if you wanted. Against Speedroids again, going first, it's okay. We do win. We can win against them going second, okay? It's just I happen to, you know, go first against them. So anyway, doing the regular thing, I'm gonna get my Crimson back. You know, by the way, just, you know, proving the point that having Radiant is okay going first, because you can always just use it to discard fodder. So yeah, standard play, getting back that Crimson, getting a couple of tuners from the deck, gaining some life points. We already have the Synchron in hand, and here's where getting the Mirror Resonator is nice. Anyway, so gonna get that Scarlight out. I summon him in defense mode for no reason at all. Gonna get 2 back into the deck to get that Red Rain. I have my Extender here to make my Void Ogre Dragon, so that's what I'm gonna do here. Gonna go into the Red Rising, making sure to revive the Crimson. Crimson is going to make the Void Ogre in defense. It makes sense to put Void Ogre in defense because it's got equal attack and defense, but I don't know why I put Scarlight in defense. Anyway, gonna set that Lance, and it's his turn. Before he does anything, I got a Field Nuke, something to protect my Field Nuke, and something to protect the thing that protects my Field Nuke. So he's gonna Cosmic my Red Rain. I'm going to negate it. He's going to try to negate the Void Ogre, and the Lance is gonna protect from that. Now he has 3 cards in hand, but I still have my Red Rain, so the one Red Rain interruption to deal with everything he's about to do. So let's see what he's about to do. So he's going to get that Terratop, and he discards a double Yo-Yo, by the way, so I know that he's not fantastic. You preferably want to discard a tuner. Anyway, so he's going to get that Terratop, search for the Takatomborg, special summon that Takatomborg, which is going to tribute itself to summon a Madoshi Piper. Fine, he's going to get something else from his deck, another Takatomborg, which he can't use because the special summon is once per turn. At this point, I decide to get rid of everything he has because he's already used his you know, important things. He can get a card turbo, and which is a, you know, it's a tuner. But anyway, he's going to use speed recovery. He can keep doing more things, but what he's about to do isn't going to be that big of a deal. You know, I shouldn't have summoned the Scarlight in defense mode. He is going to be able to use the card turbo to beat over my RDA here. I don't care. So here, I draw a card. Because Void Ogre doesn't work if I have a card in hand, the very first thing I want to do is summon that so that I have no cards in hand so I can negate that back row. So I summon it, very first things first, go, you know, into my attack position, go into my Wild Wind to search for another Resonator. I probably should not have done that. I was under the impression I could like summon this and it would be fine, but I couldn't. Anyway, Spell Speed, Trickster, drawing 2 cards. I might as well draw cards. Thankfully, I draw into an Extender, must be nice. Red Rising, I also got that Chalice, not going to be that helpful here, but it is what it is. Going to revive Red Res. Since I summon something, of course I'm going to, you know, be able to get that Red Rain back. He's going to Chalice me, so I'm not reviving anything. At the end of the day, though, I still got my Red Rain. I also still have lethal regardless. He's going to buff me up by 400 too. I already had lethal regardless of that Chalice, because I could just attack in the charge. He's got 3k life. Void Ogre attack directly in its game. So, you know, at the end, he's just like grasping at straws here, basically. He was doing fine, but he wasn't doing enough. He had really the god hand, to be quite honest with you, but it still wasn't good enough. So it is what it is. GG's. Alright, so we're going against Speedroids for the 3rd time in a row. I'm just kidding. We're going against Rose Dragons this time. And I'm actually going second, because of course this deck is famously good at going second. So I do want to kind of show that off. So anyway, he's going to discard the Blue Rose, search a Rox Rose. Cool. Rox Rose is going to search for the Basil Rose Shoot, which is going to allow him to Synchro Summon, reviving that Blue Rose Dragon. He can use both of these to go into a Shooting Riser, which can send the Magician's Robe, which is basically setting up for the Treasurer play. If you don't know how to do the Treasurer play, check out our Rose Dragon Advanced Guide. Anyway, look at this hand, bro. Isn't this hand garbage? Anyway, no, this hand is great, because we got all the protective cards we need. Garbage Lord is a Fiend, so we got full combo. Thankfully, we top deck another Fiend, so we can keep our Extender. Anyway, so gonna send that Crimson, get our Red Sprinter real quick. Sprinter's gonna revive the Crimson here. He's gonna use Basil Rose Shoot to revive his Tuner. Not his Tuner, my bad. His Blue Rose, which is going to trigger his Magician's Robe to summon itself. So at any point, he can go into Trishula. Anyway, I'm gonna Synchro Summon into Red Rising Dragon, which is going to go ahead and revive that Crimson Resonator. He is going to use the Shooting Riser right off bat. I'm going to Chalice it. He is going to Lance it, and then I'm going to book it. That was the plan all along. Anyway, so now I got my Lance being useless. Here's the plan. I'm going to use Crimson to get a Synchron and a Red Resonator. Synchron is going to show off how good it is here, because I'm going to still be able to get my Red Rain, even though I do want to use my Garbage Lord. I'm going to gain my life points real quick here, then I get to go into Scarlight. And before using the skill, I'm going to summon my Garbage Lord, use these two, including the Synchron Resonator, go into Red Rising Dragon, resummon the Red, and also Synchron is going to add back the Mirror to my hand, so that I have a Fiend in hand to send back to my deck alongside the Crimson or the Red with my skill. So that's what I'm going to do, send these two back into the deck to get my Red Rain. And before using the Red Rain, of course, I could use it right now before going into another Synchro, so that when I do Synchro Summon, I could get it back. The issue with that is my materials are going to be banished if I do that, so I'm not even going to get a Synchro Summon. So I do need to finish Synchro Summoning before doing that. So I'm going to go into Void Ogre, use the Red Rain to get rid of everything he has, keep everything I have, set that Lance, and go in for game. GG's. The fact that this version of Resonators has been legal for a while, it just took somebody to figure it out, is a testament to how innovations can be made even in solved formats, even when new cards haven't come out to support a strategy. Never ever believe that just because the majority of people do something a certain way, that is guaranteed to be the best way to do it, because somebody may come around and find a better way, and that somebody could even be you. But yeah guys, let us know how you feel about this new version of Resonators. Show some love to Rain down in the comments for this deck idea. If you have any questions about the deck or in general, leave them in the comments and we'll talk about it. And if you like this video, slap like now, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell to get notified every time we make a new video. Have yourselves a good one, and I've been Undead from Team 6K, signing out.
Hey, why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the weatherman. I ain't asking to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake, but it ain't on me. Got clean, so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream, so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon, they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast.